Hey everyone, we're not going to get mixed media messy today. We are going to have a lot of fun with some pattern paper. So I have just started with the 6x6, 6x6 papers that we got in the collection for November in the kit. And I'm just going to start by layering. I'm just roughly cutting the sizes. I'm not measuring or anything. I'm just eyeballing it going, yep. And then I will have a play with how they sit. So I'm trying to have a bit of different width and whatnot. I'm not cutting them any shorter at the moment. Those two there, the first two were the same, the length of them is 6, and then I've cut them different thickness width so that you can see. I'm just have a little play. It will become very similar, but I just have a look at the colors. And the fun thing about cutting pattern paper is that you could always just cut it a bit different to fit as you're layering it and having a play. And the good thing about having the paper like this is that you can just have a play rather than it all being stuck down. So sometimes I have an idea with my layering and I know that I want just tight layers and things like that, so you can glue as you're layering. And other times I want to do it like this, where I want to have a play with the papers and see how they all nestle in together and how they're going to have work together. So you can see I cut out some of those doilies from the pattern paper, just some quick fussy cutting. I do cut a few of them and I've laid them here, but in a bit they'd actually come off and I don't actually use them in the finished layout. They're just not what was needed. I thought I'd add in some of this pinky orangey colour a bit more by having this ruler. So cutting that down. I didn't want to cut the number, so I cut it in the middle so that it was all the numbers were intact and we could see that. But then I ended up covering some of those numbers anyway, which is quite funny. And I really knew I wanted to use this scissor paper, so I wanted to have it a good amount of it showing so that you could tell that it was scissors. And so I just cut a strip, and then I'm going to use the other side as well. Well, I figured I probably could use the other side as well. So just tidying up the layers a bit better so that I have an idea, so that I can finalize the layout position and glue it down. So you can see here the scissors paper is going to go that way, and that way there's a fair bit of it showing down the bottom. Sorry, it's out of screen a little. There we go, a bit better. And so you can see, you could definitely tell it's scissors. I love all the way the colors just really go together. That's the good thing about using collections, or a lot of the collection in the kit, is that you get the cohesiveness, and then whatever extras Steph adds in always match with the collection really nicely. So it's very fun to have that already done for you and just work with the kit. So you can see here I'm really trying to use those doilies because the colours are perfect, the sizes are perfect. It's just because all the papers are very square that I just feel like it's taken up too much white space on the background and not just really perfectly gelling with the straightness of the paper. So you can see here now I'm gluing it down. I have sped it up a bit for you, but that top layer while I added the photos to, I added a fishtail banner, and then I'm just going to add the layers on, just using one strip of sticky tape just so that it could be a quick video for you. But really, honestly, I won't go back and use more because that will just be effort and I just probably won't do it. But if it falls apart, I will know why. But really, I'm sure it will last. Now, I did have a play with those powdered pigment powders that are to the right there, the Vicky Budin ones that we got in the mixed media kit. But I just wasn't liking where it was going for these photos. So I had it there to the side and I pulled it back in just to double check that if the pattern paper layers would go onto that mixed media backgrounds, but that was a no-no. So you can see here I've just pulled out a thin black pen and I'm just doing some borders, some doodly squiggly line ones and some dash ones, and I'm going to rip this one. I felt like it was taking up so much space, and it just added, because I also have the fishtail banner going horizontally across to the right there, I thought it needed just a fishtail banner or a rip to the vertical papers. So just having a play, just doing some borders around each paper, changing it up every now and then, making it look a bit different, but making the borders on here is so that each paper pops off each other and is a layer to the next one. So it gives it that depth so that it's not just paper all flat. Now, I had a great idea and I love how it worked. I'm going to add a border to my full page, but I'm actually going to use 2 different pattern papers. So you can see I've pulled out this yellow one and this orangey one, and I'm going to have one on 2 edges of the border and then the other 2 edges, and that's just going to give it a nice cohesive. I couldn't decide which color would go better because I don't have a dominant color, so that was part of it. And I was even, once I glued this down, toying with adding some of the blue to the background, to the border, but I liked the way it worked out and I didn't want to ruin that with the chance of adding the blue the wrong way. So you can see here I've just cut roughly, and I'm going to glue the corners together, just lining them up and just putting just some simple tape there, easy as, and then I will tape the white cardstock to it. I did cut the white cardstock 1/2 inch on either side. Now sometimes when I know I'm going to do it, I will cut 1 inch from 2 sides and it's fine, but because I'd already set down the pattern paper, I needed to cut 1/2 inch from each side to make sure that the pattern paper was still centered in the white space. So you can see here, stuck it down. I'm going to add a doodly border, just 1 line to the white cardstock, and that just means that's the final layer that's sticking up, and we'll be all good. And then I was just trying to work out why my border wasn't working for me, and I realized maybe if I cut on a diagonal, and that was the join of the 2 colors, that it would work so good, so much better. And it was exactly the right choice. This one down here I obviously didn't stick very well because it's not 100% the right line, but we will ignore that, won't we? We won't bother about it. So now I'm working on just a little bit of embellishing. There's lots of pattern paper going on, so I don't need much. I definitely wanted a title, so we pulled out the thickers that we got in the kit. And if you are wondering of any of the products, check out the unboxing video. So I've got the title there happening, which brings in some more of those pops of the same colours, which is great. And I just wondered whether I wanted those scissors, but they're actually using shaving cream in this photo. They got shaving cream and some food dye, and that's what they're having to play with. But that's okay. We will go with the paintiness of it rather than the scissors. So I'm just going to use some of these washi strips. That phrase just worked perfectly, and then I liked the pop of blue. I did want a pop of what did I want? I think yellow I wanted, but we didn't have one, so I couldn't grab that. But that's okay. We don't know that it was missing that at all. So I've got that yellow circle with art up the top, and I've added that paintbrush with, or the, what is it? A bottle of water with the paintbrushes sticking out. Adding these buttons. I love these buttons. I want so many more, but that's okay. We will work with what I've got. And I'm just going to add the 3 little clusters. Nothing crazy because, like I said, the pattern paper does a lot for the layout. Just going to add a couple of puffy hearts and then a couple of puffy words next to those buttons. So just simple little clusters. Didn't want to overdo it. Already there's nothing that stands out more because the cluster, the pattern paper, and even the photos are only got the slightest border. So I like the fact that you have to look at everything and take it in to see things on this layout, whereas some layouts there's something that's more dominant and will stand out a bit more and draws your eye before you see everything. So as always, have a great day, and I'll catch you next video. Bye guys.